Remarkable game and an even better post-match news conference by Antonio Conte after Tottenham's 3-3 draw with Southampton.
Well, let's get some more reaction from that now with Spurs fan Ricky Sachs, who hosts the Last Word on Spurs podcast. Ricky, good morning. Could you quite believe what you were hearing last night in that post-match news conference?
I probably could, if I'm being honest with you. I think Antonio has been saving that up for quite a long period and delivered it, I think, in a way in which a lot of Spurs fans would resonate with how the man is feeling, how frustrated he is. That doesn't get away from the fact how tactically stubborn and rigid his formation has been during his second season at the club. But I think, and I joked about this during our Last Word on Spurs show last night, that as many fans that he may have lost during the game, because of the nature of how frustrating the tactics were, he may have won them back in what was a drama-fueled press conference where I think he touched many Spurs fans by what he was saying, how he delivered it, and I think a lot of us agreed. But I think when you are paid 15 million a year, you have to get more out of the current players. He's been badly let down in the transfer market. I think we can all acknowledge that. He hasn't had all of the players that he's wanted. He's referred to a couple of them as being club signings. And ultimately, I think he's exposed the current ownership. And for them, this is now a very serious situation in which they need to act quickly to try and salvage what is still 10, 11 games left of a season where Spurs were in the midst for a top four challenge. But I know many fans over the back-to-back cup exits were feeling demoralised, and we all are right now. It's just a really sad period at Spurs, but one we've been used to for far too long, guys.
Yeah, Ricky, I wanted to ask you how you feel the Tottenham fans on the whole have responded to Conte's comments. Are you saying that many of them agree with what he's saying?
Absolutely. I think Antonio in that press conference was honest. He said many things. You know, a lot of these players, they've been there for the training ground. I think there is a feeling that if we saw the same impetus being displayed in terms of recruitment and on pitch, Tottenham would be right up there fighting. And don't get me wrong, look, Spurs are a club that are fighting for the top four. But I think as fans, we want to see more than that. We want to be competitive. And I think with Antonio this season, I think one thing that hasn't gone down well with the supporters, including me, the domestic cups are everything to me. And the way in which I feel like we've been spoken down to is very hard to get over. And I think as a football club now, we need to find our identity and have somebody there that actually wants to be there for Tottenham. We've tried, you know, now 2 win-now managers in Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte. And in my opinion, they've not given them the win-now tools in order to be successful. So Tottenham, as a hierarchy, as a board, need to make their mind up on what they want. Do they want to be a club that want to win now? Or are they a club for a project? If they are a club for a project, this is just my opinion. I know he's not the man for everybody in the fan base. I think they need to look back and go to Mauricio Pochettino, a man that really, for me, encompassed everything about Tottenham. He was a man that came into a fragmented squad. He dispelled of the players that weren't on the same wavelength as him, and he built a squad that were ultimately willing to die for the shirt and were making the fans proud. And I know as Spurs fans right now, we're not proud, we're embarrassed by the situation, and we just need somebody to come back in and unite the football club. And I've got no doubt, Mauricio, look, things didn't end too well, and there's going to have to be certain assurances the second time around in order so what happened first time doesn't happen again, but something has to change massively here to try and heal a really broken fan base.
Well, the man who'll be making plenty of decisions over the next few days, few months, we'll see, his Spurs chairman, Daniel Levy. He was at St Mary's yesterday. Ricky, what do you think his reaction will be to those comments from Conte last night, particularly the part where he references the fact that Spurs haven't won a trophy in such a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot on social media actually saying that he was digging out Daniel Levy last night. What's required? And, you know, I think Spurs, as I said, they just need to make their mind up on what they want to be. If they want to be a win-now club, then you need to bring in a win-now manager and actually give him the tools to win now. If you are not prepared to do that, and you do not want to give the manager the tools right now to win, you need to go and get yourself a project manager and actually have a plan over a sustained period to be successful. I hate giving them as an example. I hate using them as an example, But you only have to look at down the road what Arsenal done with Arteta. And the many fans that thought he should have been gone last season, he's had a plan, they've backed him, and Arsenal now, I hate to say this, they're on the brink of something there, and that absolutely kills me as a Spurs fan. But we need to find our identity, we need to have a plan, and we need to have one quickly. And I think now, look, we've got 2 weeks during this international break to really sort out what needs to happen. And Spurs can't allow the situation to drift. In my opinion, can I just say very quickly, guys, to have been in a situation after the World Cup break where we came back into the season and had Antonio Conte not commit to a contract, for me, was just unacceptable. It should never have been allowed to happen like that, because ultimately there was no way the season was going to be successful. You're asking the players to give everything when the manager is not committed. And for me, from that moment onwards, I think we all feared what was going to happen for this second half of the season.
Ricky, it's been really good to get your thoughts this morning. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. We'll speak to you soon.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for your time.